Welcome into another edition of La Rosa's preseason Kentucky football position previews. With over 40 menu items, pizza, wings, hoagies, fries, and desserts, you can take your Catterday to the next level. Visit larosas.com each Saturday this fall. Now we're here to get you ready for the wide receivers who got a lot of buzz with the addition of Wandel Robinson in the offseason. Luckett, how does Wandel Robinson change Kentucky's offense?
He just adds a proven playmaker to the attack. Robinson was a two-way player there at Nebraska, running back, slot receiver, did a lot for Scott Frost's offense. Now Liam Cohen gets a versatile piece to move around and kind of take advantage of. Robinson's got a chance to be one of the better slot receivers, I think, in the SEC. He's got potential to be an all-SEC type performer, and he's going to be a guy Kentucky leans on often to get their passing game up and running.
Freddie, just what does Wandale do best on a football field?
Runs fast and runs quick. Simple answers. Wandel Robinson is a tremendous vertical, horizontal, lateral runner, fluid hips, can cut on a dime. You get the football in his hands and space, he can make things happen. A lot of yards after the catch is what I'm looking for from Wandel, and I think that's going to add a tremendous aspect to Cohen's offense. Because last year, let's just be honest, there was not a lot of yards after catch. So that's something new that I think he brings. And like Adam said, a proven playmaker at the receiver position.
Well, and it's one of those things too. Last year, Kentucky, it was Josh Ali and everybody else. Josh Ali is going to benefit from Wandel Robinson being on this team. You will not have four guys in the secondary keying on one Kentucky wide receiver. They don't have a ton. They do have two reliable good ones. And I think Ali is really going to benefit from having Wandale running routes with him as well. But as I mentioned, there's a bunch of other guys. Kentucky really needs to have a deep threat emerge. Rasan Lewis did have a great open practice. But guys, which player do we think will jump out and surprise the Big Blue Nation? Freddie, I'll let you go first.
I'm going to go to Crowdus, true freshman from Frederick Douglass High School. We've seen a lot of him in preseason. Media pushes by UK. I think he's going to play. But if there's a surprise, then we really can't count Harris and Ebbs and other players because they have played some. But my surprise player would be Miguel Crowdus. He's a lot like Wandel Robinson, extremely quick. His top end speed is there. So Kentucky is going to look to go vertical. I think Crowdus could be an option.
Who do you have in mind, like it as a third guy that can kind of emerge and really help Ollie and Robinson?
I'm also sticking with that 2021 class. Chauncey Magwood was the receiver out of South Georgia. I think we all really like coming out of high school. 4-year starter, played quarterback as a senior, started as a freshman for a state championship team in Georgia. He got a lot of positive reviews from the coaching staff out of spring ball. So he's already been in this offense for a little bit. I think he's a guy that you could just see them plugging him into the slot or somewhere and him helping the offense this year. Now, big thing they need is a field stretcher. Like Freddie talked about, I think that's one area Crowdus kind of has an advantage. If he can be kind of that big play threat that could let him push for playing time. But I think when looking for newcomers, we really need to focus on that 2021 class because it does seem like those guys are the future. And you add those two plus Chris Lewis, that's a good looking trio, I think, for the long-term health of the Kentucky passing game.
Chris Lewis definitely has some extra something to him. You know, he's got all the right tools, still a little bit raw, but man, in that open practice, you know, throw it anywhere around him, he'll go up and catch it. Physically, he's an impressive looking kid. And like, I think you made a good point, like it, Crowdus might have the upper hand because of just, they need speed, they need it now, and he's got it. But long-term, all of those guys can be really talented playmakers for the Cats. I do think it's worth noting too, that how much they have emphasized speed in this room, going into this season. They're putting a premium on it. And, you know, you talk about deep play threats, Freddie, I think there's at least a couple candidates there, between Crooms, Tate Crooms from Butler High School. You mentioned DeMarcus Harris, who he had an impressive Saturday, I thought, as well. And Rasan Lewis, who had those couple nice catches. So there are at least some guys that do have more speed. You can tell that they definitely put a concerted effort in this offseason.
Yeah, I mean that you could say that about every offseason. You have to get faster in today's college football game because speed is at a premium, and the fields are stretched. Defenders are matched up 1-on-1. You get a lot of chances at vertical shots. You have to take advantage of that. I want to go back to Josh Ali, who I think excelled in a offensive system that handicapped receivers. I think he excelled against tremendously tough odds for a receiver. Didn't have a lot of yards after catch because everybody in the stadium knew he was the only receiver that was going to catch a football for Kentucky. So I think the return of Josh Ali could be potentially the biggest impact personnel move for the Kentucky offense for 2021.
Wow. Bold statement there, Freddie. Like it?
And yeah. Ali, I think the addition of Robinson allows him to be a true number 2 target. And I think that's the sweet spot for him. I think being able to be that guy, an experienced guy, super senior, I think too he could have a big season. And with Kentucky's offense, with Robinson and Ali kind of slot guys, they're really going to be able to stretch the field horizontally with that. And you add in the outside zone, it's going to be when they get defenses going east and west, can they attack them north south with the vertical passing game? And if they can find an option or a target they can depend on to go deep, it could be a game changer for the offense.
Yeah, the receiver position is obviously the most fluid as far as the depth chart is concerned. Ali, Robinson, and then it's anybody's guess after that. So that's going to be something to pay attention to, certainly.
It's anybody's guess. If they can find the right sweet spot at wide receivers and plug in the right quarterback, this could be a fun fall in Lexington, KY. Thanks for joining us for another edition of LaRosa's preseason Kentucky football position previews.